President Nana Akufo-Addo reaffirms his commitment to fulfill campaign promises. Norway to supply Ghana a research vessel to guide operations of industrial trawling. Hello, good evening. It's the first Sunday of the week, and as usual, the news team is here to bring you news from within and across our borders. My name is Micheline Taka. You're most welcome. We are live on GBC24 and Ghana Television. The news in details now. Addressing transporters and traders in Kumasi, the President Nana Akufo-Addo reaffirmed his determination to fulfill his campaign pledges, strengthening the National Health Insurance Scheme, fighting corruption in high places, free senior high school, and one district, one factory were among his key pledges.
Addressing transport operators and traders at the Kumasi Central Market at separate encounters in Kumasi, President Akufo-Addo assured Ghanaians of his determination to keep to all his promises during the 2016 electioneering campaign. He said, implementation of the free senior high education for all qualified Ghanaian children from September this year is alive.
And then budget roll for the buyer some budget no what you to my baba financial provision more and more said September intake of 2017-2018 senior high school is going to be free for everybody.
The president spent his weekend in Kumasi, capital of Ashanti region, a political stronghold of the ruling New Patriotic Party.
Industrial trawler operators have resumed fishing this month after observing a 2-month ban. It was to allow the depleted fish stock to replenish. At a meeting with the Ghana Industrial Trawlers Association in Tema, the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Elizabeth Afole-Quay, told the trawler operators that Norway will soon supply Ghana a research vessel to guide their operations.
In accordance with law, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development and the Fisheries Commission declared closed seasons for all industrial trawlers from 1st February to 31st March 2017. The closed season is in line with Ghana's fisheries management plan between 2015 to 2019. It is to restrain overexploitation of fish in the sea and give a grace period for the fish to multiply. The measure supports sustainable fishing in the marine subsector. Last November, the industrial trawlers successfully observed the first closed season. February to March this year was also declared a closed season. According to the trawlers, they lose a lot of revenue during the closed season and wish government will be up on its feet as vanguard of their operations.
We had so many challenges during this closed season, we're burning fuel to keep the vessels in shape, and this fuel that we are burning, we are not getting any income, so it's one of the biggest challenges. And last year we had 1 month. This year we have had 2 months. So it's a very big challenge. It's a challenge that we didn't actually anticipate. So we have been taken up by so many, problems, which we want to see the ministry so that we address some of these challenges. Also, there is the issue of piracy. Pirates, come sometimes to worry some of the vessels at the breakwaters.
I think that we need to build Ghanaian capacity to look at mid-water trawl, which is what we are not doing, and then to do deep water fishing. So we think that we need to modify our vessels, but we cannot continue to allow foreigners to lead that crusade. We need to have a friendly banking system that is friendly to the fishing industry, that will be able to give the industry some support to be able to acquire our own vessels, build our own human capacity to sustainably exploit our resources.
The Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Elizabeth Afole-Quay, congratulated the Ghana Industrial Trawlers Association for their patience during the close season, saying government is committed to improving the fisheries sector and will continue to support the industry with friendly policies.
Do the right thing, work within the laws of the nation, work within international laws, so that Ghana in the future will not be tagged with doing illegal, unreported or unregulated fishing. I also want to assure them that the Norwegian government, in collaboration with the Ghana government, is going to implement a plan which is the Fish for Development Plan. And this Fish for Development Plan is intended to help us achieve the Sustainable Development Goals in eradicating poverty and also managing our oceans sustainably.
The fishing industry continues to be a major avenue for the employment for many and has contributed significantly to gross domestic product.
The President of the National House of Chiefs, Togbi Afede, has called on traditional authorities to spearhead development and desist from partisan politics. He said law and convention are explicit on the non-partisan nature of chieftaincy. Togbi Afede made the call when he visited the Central Regional House of Chiefs in Cape Coast.
The chieftaincy institution is regarded as traditional head of communities. Long before modern systems of government, chiefs had arbitrated certain disputes in the localities and mobilized people on development lines. Since the colonial era, the institution has been linked to the politics of Ghana. Various governments, colonial, civilian and military, have one way or the other influenced the role of chiefs in political affairs. The 1992 Constitution guarantees the institution of chieftaincy together with its traditional councils as established by customary law and usage. In view of this, the Constitution forbids chiefs from active participation in party politics. The Agbugbo and President of the National House of Chiefs, Togbi Afede, asked his counterparts to refrain from acts that are counter-constitutional.
The National House of Chiefs is concerned that we reinvent ourselves so we can attract businesses to our communities, activities that provide the needs of our people to our communities. That is what we have set out to face as an institution, with chieftaincy playing an integral role in the governance and the development process of our country.
The Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Mr. Kofi Jamesi, commended traditional authorities for spearheading various development projects in the communities.
We expect that persons who engage in activities inimical to development and who sometimes give the impression of having all blessings and assurances are dealt with. In other words, we want to separate chieftaincy issues from criminal issues.
The Central Regional Minister, Kwamina Duncan, also asked chiefs to support the government to solve the myriad of problems confronting the region, especially in education, health, illegal mining and sanitation.
On May 4th, Algerians will go to the polls to elect members of parliament. Ghana, on the other hand, has held 6 successful parliamentary and presidential elections, giving her an edge over other nations in good governance. It is in this vein that the Algerian ambassador, the Lelechi Youssef, conferred with the leadership of parliament to draw lessons from Ghana's parliamentary practices for Algeria's upcoming polls.
Relations between Algeria, a former French colony, and her West African neighbor Ghana date back to the pre-colonial era. They both played prominent roles in the formation of the Organization of African Unity OAU, now African Union AU. Both countries have also experienced some instability and political tensions in their quest to practice democracy. In December 2016, Ghana went to the polls for its parliamentary and presidential elections, and the outcome was peaceful. The election of members to the National People's Assembly of Algeria on May 4 will be a litmus test for that nation in a post-Arab Spring era.
Elections are a means of choosing who should govern according to the will of the people, not by anybody imposing himself on the people. And personally, I've written and spoken about the fact that anybody who falsifies the electoral process commits a very serious offense against the state, next to treason. So we trust that with all the strides that Algeria has made, we will hear very soon very smooth and successful elections.
The majority leader, Mr. Osei Mensah Bonsu, touted Algeria as one of the countries with a high level of women participation in parliament that he says was a shining example for Ghana. The deputy minority leader, Mr. James Aveji, urged the parties involved to accept the outcome of the elections to deepen democracy on the continent. The upcoming parliamentary elections will be the 6th of its kind since Algeria adopted a multi-party system.
The Christ Pentecostal Church at Old Fadama in Accra was venue of a Thanksgiving service on the peaceful conduct of the 2016 Ghana elections. The service dovetailed other initiatives endorsing the democratic culture of Ghana, now an shining example for many.
The successful conduct of the last presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana is described as a feather shot in the arm of a country which has proven the skeptics wrong and the optimists right. On account of past record, many believe that Ghana is showing the way for fledgling democracies, that when there is a will, there is a way. Ghana has safely ruled storms that many could not, as the attempt by some countries to experiment democracy had failed and caused mayhem. Without any shred of doubt, Ghana was gripped by consternation in the fever pitch campaign leading up to the ballot, but went smooth sail, and power was peacefully transferred between political parties diametrically opposed to each other. The Christian community, which spiritually interceded in that cause, has hailed the political actors, the victors and the vanquished. A Thanksgiving service at Old Fadama in Accra was well patronized by members of the public.
I therefore embarked on a peace mission, praying to save the children of God and the nation Ghana from the evil one before, during and after the elections.
Other voices of religion urged people to acknowledge life and all that comes their way as gift of God, no matter how little they might be. Napoleon Atukitu reporting.
The presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Reverend Titus Awotri-Pratt, has asked the leadership of some churches to purge themselves first before questioning political leaders of corrupt practices. Speaking at the induction of National Council of Patrons for the Association of Methodist Choirs, Reverend Awotri-Pratt said the love for money has become so pervasive in churches and asked leaders to stick strictly to the tenets of the gospel.
The aim of the association is to bring under one union all Methodist church choirs throughout the country. It is also to foster cordial relationship among choirs of the association and to promote Christian friendship and understanding with other Christian denominations. At a national Thanksgiving ceremony at the Emmanuel Methodist Society in Accra, new National Council of Patrons were inducted into office. They are to improve the standard of choir music and to encourage discipline and good Christian behavior at all levels of the association. In his sermon, Reverend Titus Awotri-Pratt was unhappy about negative and questionable lifestyles of some Christians that makes it difficult to win more souls for Christ.
Lobbying and campaigning for positions, not here there. But when you get the position, you do nothing with it. No here, nor a grab, nor a grab, nor a grab. In the church. So I have a question. What moral right have we as a church to tell any politician when that person is doing the wrong thing in the society? When we do the worst things in the church?
He also condemned activities of paramilitary groups and members of political parties who seize government offices, properties and attacking personalities, saying it amounts to disrespect of the leadership of government. The chairman of the newly inducted Council of Patrons, Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi, said the council will be dedicated to its work to improve the performance of Methodist choirs in the service of God.
I think the most important thing of the patron is a love of the choir as a very important instrument in the service of the church, because it is through the choir that the Spirit of God descends. So when we are there backing them up, at least they know that they have some kind of support.
You're watching News Are Live on GBC24 and Ghana Television Sports Entertainment. Up next shortly after this break. Liberty Professionals held Elmina Sharks to a 1-1 draw in their first ever meeting in the Ghanaian top flight on Saturday. Sharks took the lead with one of the fastest goals in the 9-week-old 2016-2017 league season, with winger Benjamin Twenebois scoring just under 5 minutes. On 68 minutes, Liberty's striker Ernest Papa Akon scored from a long range. The encounter ended 1-1.
Dip inside the half of Elmina Sharks, let the ball in there, he picked it up neatly. Issa Shabu was just sloppy. Bernard Arthur in there, Bernard Arthur again, this support, trying to cut it again. Ernest Papako, oh, that is absolutely wonderful! Cut it so well, not to couldn't close him down. Look at it, oh, this is amazing. And so referee Ernest Baby ends proceedings here. This is the fourth drawn game of Elmina Sharks in the Premier League, and so it ends here. Elmina Sharks 1, Liberty Professionals.
Ghana's Musa Rahman Lawson was on Saturday, April 1, crowned winner of a special international amateur middleweight contest. The Ghana Prisons officer knocked out his Lebanese opponent, Elias Farah, under just 3 minutes.
One of the bouts on the bill of the Azuma Nelson Fight Night on Saturday, April 1 at the Bukum Boxing Arena was a special international amateur middleweight contest. It was between a member of the National Olympic team, the Black Bombers, Musa Rahman Lawson, and a Lebanese, Elias Farah. The bout, which was expected to last for 8 rounds, turned out not to be. It just lasted less than 3 minutes in the first round. The Ghana Prison Service officer, Musa Rahman Lawson, wasted no time in making his intentions known. Musa's first right hook landed Elias Farah to the ground, but Farah complained that he slipped. Elias returned to full action in agility this time, throwing jabs, but to the dismay of the spectators, which had a large representation of the Lebanese nationals, their boxer went down again after a punch from Musa's right hand. For the second time, Elias came back, but luck eluded him again after a powerful right blow landed on his face, retiring him to the ground. Referee Rosemary Ametepe counted time out as the boxer failed to respond.
And within 1 round, it's gone to the canvas 3 times. And this is more or less like a knockout. Yeah. I don't know why he's still in the game. He's not even making any within 1 round. I don't know, but earlier before this fight, Lawson Rahman kept telling Ghanaians that he's gonna finish this Lebanese guy. We thought it was a joke.
To him. It's the third time that Ghana's WBO interim African middleweight champion Obudai Sai has defended his WBO African middleweight title. Sai stopped his challenger, another Tanzanian Suleimani Saidi, in the first round.
One of the bouts on the Azuma Nelson Fight Night was the international middleweight contest. It was between Ghana's WBO interim African middleweight champion Obudai the Miracle Sai and the Tanzanian Suleimani Saidi. This was the third time in a row Sai was facing a Tanzanian opponent as he looks forward to a crack at the world title. Obudai was the aggressor on the night. Sai used his ringcraft to unsettle his opponent in the second round. Suleimani was forced to visit the canvas in the early minutes after Sai unleashed a series of powerful, accurate landing punches on his face. But the Tanzanian was quick to respond to referee Michael Nikri's call. Seconds after Saidi responded to the count, Sai pounced on him with some ferocious punches, and this time, Saidi could not get on his knees, forcing referee Nikwe to call it quits. Ubudai Sai now boasts of 32 fights, 2 defeats, and 24 wins by way of technical knockouts. Ubudai Sai is expected to be back in the ring in the next 2 months for a WBO IBF Intercontinental fight. He is thus calling for support from Ghanaians and has promised to bring the world title home.
We go to the entertainment segment now. In 2016, British-born Adam Rayner stepped in the shoes of various characters who have played role in Simon Templar or James Bond in the popular American film series of the past century. Adam Rayner was born 40 years ago in Shrewsbury near Northwick in Norfolk, England.
Today's cultural practices are mistletoe removal and canal and gutter cutting. Mistletoe removal. Mistletoe is a plant that parasites nutrients from the tree. If not removed immediately, the mistletoe will multiply, killing off many of your cocoa trees. Cut or remove mistletoe completely from the knot where the mistletoe is attached to the cocoa tree, otherwise it will grow back. Use a cutlass or harvesting hook to remove the canopies from the main tree to ensure adequate intake of nutrients by the cocoa trees. Canal and gutter cutting. If your farm is easily flooded during the rainy season, you should dig canals and gutters so that the water flows away from the farm. This will create the right atmosphere needed for healthy pod formation.
Keep watching the weather report right here only on GTV. You have a good night.
That's all in this package. George Sapo is standing by with Talking Point. Thanks for your company.